Today we're talking about trace minerals like copper, iodine, zinc, and selenium, and how they can help support our thyroid function and then help the rest of our hormones too. I'm Dr. Shelley Meyer. Thanks so much for joining me here. I am a functional medicine doctor, family doctor, registered dietitian, nutritionist, and I have my own practice in Denver, Colorado called Highlands Health and Wellness. I've been on YouTube since 2019 talking about functional medicine topics, and more recently in 2024, I've been focusing strictly on perimenopause, menopause, and hormone balance. But part of that is also thyroid, your thyroid hormone. And that's one of the things I get asked about the most in my practice when women or men are feeling tired and fatigued and sluggish and the metabolism seems to be slower. So we're going to focus on that specifically with trace minerals today and how they affect our thyroid. If you haven't checked out any of my other videos that relate to any of this hormone health balance and you're curious, feel free to dive in. There's lots of them there. I also have a blog, perimenopause.help, that not only covers just like menopause and perimenopause, it also covers some of these other hormones that help support our overall hormone balance. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Please like and subscribe. That helps keep things going here. I'm still a relatively small channel. I have a full-time practice. It's hard to balance everything. So I do post every 2 weeks, but I post shorts in between. But your support here really helps me grow and then, hopefully be able to support or to post more and make more videos. So thank you so much for that. I also have Instagram if you want to follow me there. I am active on there, but I don't really have like a super big kind of account going on there. So I'd love more support there if that's kind of something you enjoy. But thank you for being here. And we're going to dive into thyroid function and trace minerals. So trace minerals are many, but the ones I'm going to focus on here are copper, zinc, iodine, and selenium because they are very important for overall hormone health and thyroid health. Now, deficiency in those can happen, and it's not talked about enough, just like a lot of things aren't talked about enough in our current medical practice our current medical culture with the way it's so hurried and rushed. But with my patients, we do talk about this kind of thing, and we do test for trace mineral deficiency. So copper deficiency in particular can lead to low thyroid function, so hypothyroidism, and the classic symptoms like fatigue and weight gain. Zinc can also lead to thyroid being more sluggish because it does help to support thyroid hormone metabolism. It also helps to support our immune system and excuse me, and helps our hormones, like our female hormones, get made in the right amounts. Iodine deficiency is really big in its relation to, as well as selenium, in their relationship to thyroid dysfunction. So let's dive into some of those. I'm just referencing my blog here that I did on this so that I don't miss anything. So let's talk about copper deficiency first. So what are some of the symptoms of copper deficiency? They can overlap with the symptoms of hypothyroidism, or other like cortisol imbalance. So and even the perimenopause and menopause symptoms: fatigue, weakness, being sensitive to cold, weight gain, dry skin, pale skin, hair loss. So yeah, you see how that can overlap. So ways you can check copper, and I will talk about these a little bit later, is red blood cell copper is a great way to check your copper levels. And then at that same time, your doctor could check TSH, free T3, and free T4 to check your thyroid levels too. Other docs, like functional docs like me, like reverse T3. That can get expensive, and conventional doctors might not want to do it. They might not even want to do free T3. But if you have a good relationship and they're able to do that, then that would be great. So like I said, copper deficiency can impair our production of thyroid stimulating hormone, and it can also impair the ability to turn one of our thyroid hormones, T4, into T3. So we want to make sure we avoid copper deficiency. And then high levels of copper can cause estrogen dominance. So you can see that same kind of roller coaster of symptoms of mood and acne and heavy periods and irritability and sleep issues like you do in the first phase of perimenopause, which is usually estrogen dominance. You can see that with high copper levels. So make sure you're not overdoing copper. People can do that in their supplements, and just you want to check your copper levels if you're having any of those symptoms. So copper rich foods, if you happen to be copper deficient or want to research some of these trace minerals in food supply, because being a dietitian, I really do like to start with food. Copper rich food, you have shellfish like oysters. Liver, you're always going to have be rich in those minerals, but it's got its own issue as far as eating other animals' livers can be toxic in some ways. Green leafy vegetables, spinach, collard, kale, turnips, mustard greens, and dark green lettuces can be helpful for copper. Cocoa and dark chocolate. So we're not talking like milk chocolate, but dark chocolate, like 80%, 90% chocolate, even 100%, if you can handle the bitterness of that, is a great way to get copper and some of these other trace minerals. Black pepper, you can also get copper in that. Shiitake mushrooms, nuts and seeds are a great source of a lot of different trace minerals, and lobster too for the copper. So the zinc, as we talked about with zinc, it helps the thyroid conversion. So it helps that T4 be converted into T3. And quite a bit in my office, I see women with low, or men too, but with low T3 levels, even though their T4 is okay. And they may feel the symptoms of low thyroid because they're not getting that active thyroid hormone in adequate amounts. And yes, you can medicate and you can give somebody T3, which is liothyronine, in addition to levothyroxine, which is generic T4. And then there's NP thyroid and Armour thyroid, which are the pig gland blends of called like the natural thyroid hormone. But why not support these nutrients if it is a nutrient issue? That would be a better way to do it. So zinc helps with that. It helps our thyroid hormone receptors, so they can be more receptive to thyroid hormone. So you see all these links there. And then, of course, a lot of us know the relationship between zinc and our immune function. And zinc also helps us when we are fertile as women, have healthier eggs. It helps men have healthier sperm production. So it's very related to hormones. So as an example with zinc rich foods, oysters, in 3 ounces of oysters, there's 74 milligrams of zinc. In 3 ounces of chicken, there's 2.5 milligrams of zinc. Oh, I forgot beef, 3 ounces, there's 7 milligrams of zinc. Pumpkin seeds, 2.2 milligrams of zinc, and pine nuts, 1.8 milligrams of zinc. So those are some examples of ways to get them in your food. You can also get zinc in dark chocolate and nuts and seeds too, as the example shows here. But to tell you what the overall goal is, it can vary depending on if you have a deficiency, if you have trouble absorbing your zinc, maybe there's something wrong with your gut. If so, check out my gut videos. But you probably need anywhere between like 15 to 50 or more, milligrams of zinc. I forgot what I was saying. So maybe I need more zinc for my brain function. Anyway, you probably need 15 to 50 milligrams of zinc. So 50 is on the higher side, and if you take a straight up 50 milligram supplement of zinc, you can feel very nauseous. So keep that in mind. If you're going to try to supplement, you should try to supplement in smaller amounts. You should also make sure for every 15 milligrams of zinc, you have a microgram of copper in there, or that you have it balanced in the copper in the 15-to-1 ratio, because zinc can make you copper deficient. So iodine. Let's talk about iodine. So iodine is, you may have heard, very linked to the thyroid. It went like back in the day, I think it was the 40s, 50s, might have been before that, might have been the 20s. I don't remember, but they did start iodizing salt, putting iodine in salt to help goiters. Women and men would have like big old lumps there, which is a goiter, and that has to do with your thyroid malfunctioning. So that's why we have iodized salt, because iodine is so important for our thyroid balance. So you can get iodine in salt, iodized salt. If you're eating sea salt or non-iodized salt, you're not going to get iodine. It's also in kelp, so you can get 415 to 2,000 micrograms of iodine in kelp. You can get 99 micrograms of iodine in cod fish, for example, 3 ounces. Dairy, so 87 micrograms in 1 cup of yogurt, 400 micrograms in a cup of cranberries. That's a lot of cranberries to eat. There could be a lot of sugar in that, but 56 micrograms in 8 ounces of milk. So you can get it in shellfish and fish. So in seaweed, you could also get iodine from seaweed, in dairy as well. And that is something you want to, there's a fine line with, or a fine line you can cross over with iodine, meaning there are some people that are supplementing or even eating too much iodine, and that can put their thyroid into a bad state also. So it's good to talk to your doctor, your healthcare provider, about how much iodine you need. And I wouldn't recommend heavily supplementing it, because maybe some people might need a big iodine supplementation, but supplementing in smaller amounts, in 150 micrograms or less. And kelp, I acted like it was different from seaweed. It is sea algae, but that amount, you'll see that 415 to 2000. You wouldn't want to have a lot of kelp every day, because you could put yourself into having too much iodine. So just kind of walking that fine line and not doing too much iodine, because that can be bad for your thyroid. You really want it not too little and not too much. So celiac disease is another thing to think about. Like if you have celiac or gluten intolerance or SIBO or dysbiosis, you can have issues absorbing any of these nutrients. So keep that in mind. If their levels are low, that may be related to gut function. Celiac also makes you make antibodies to gluten, and then you can also make antibodies against the thyroid too. When you have celiac, you can trigger like Hashimoto's, which is making antibodies against the thyroid. Check out my other thyroid video from a long time ago, if you want more information on that. So if you have any autoimmune issues going on, definitely check those out, because they can get in the way of you having good thyroid function and absorbing these nutrients too. So then selenium, super helpful for good thyroid function. We want adequate levels of that. A lot of times when I see a poor conversion of T4 to the active T3 thyroid hormone, I will recommend that my patients, instead of supplementing selenium, they could eat 1 to 2 Brazil nuts a day, because Brazil nuts are a great way to supplement or get selenium in. Other nuts and seeds as well. Make sure I see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, for selenium, you can also get it in turkey, beef, chicken, fish, shellfish, beans, and lentils. And then in my thyroid blends that I recommend, herbal blends and nutrient blends, I like Thyroid Support Complex or Thyroxin by Thorne. And they do have selenium and iodine in them, but they have them in safe amounts. And I'll put links in the description there. And then as far as testing your nutrient levels, you can do your red blood cell levels of these nutrients in your regular blood tests. You can test red blood cell copper and ceruloplasmin, which is a storage form of copper. Iodine's trickier to test. I prefer testing iodine in urinary, like Doctor's Data. I'll put a link in the description. They have a great test for iodine and other trace minerals and toxins, and it's a pretty affordable test. It's less than $100, or it might be just over $100, which I know may be expensive for some people, but for a functional medicine test, that's pretty low. And there's actually also hair analysis you can do. I prefer urine analysis over hair, but Doctor's Data makes another one of those too, so I'll put that in the description. So those are some ways to test it and to supplement it and to get good foods and to know the connection between these trace minerals and your hormones. So if you have any questions, not individual medical questions of your case, but like general questions about these videos, please let me know in the description. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the blog at perimenopause.health. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time.